Welcome to Midvale Speedway, June 11th, 2005, along with Karen and Bear Schwartz, the owners and hunters of Midvale Speedway. This is your video announcer, Craig Mishler. The late model fast heats on the track. Ron Jaybird Jr. will bring him in car 22. John Crumrine in 44. Todd Miller in 11. 53 Mike Miller. 12 Bubba Smith. 82 out there Phil Rosen, and 9 of Dave Watson. Down to turn 1, out of 2. John Crumrine on the outside in 44. Mike Miller on the outside, he'll take over third. Todd Miller trying to get his nose back in there, hanging on the inside. Dave Watson in number 9, your top qualifier. Bubba Smith back here. Phil Rosen 82, Mike Miller 30, 53. Todd Miller 11, 44. John Crumrine in cars 9, 10 for race later. Miller and Rosen side by side. Halfway that lap, 4 in, 4 to go. Phil Rosen on the outside, he's taking over fourth, now he wants third. White flag in hand, this time by. Leads him in the backstretch into turn 3. 44, 82, 11, 9, and 12. Okay, Todd Ripley behind car number 22. And he'll bring home the fast heat tonight. Your winner, Todd Ripley in car 22. Okay, moving to the second heat. Tom Feller Jr. will bring him in. Greg Bewley on the outside in 21. Bob Schneider in 17. Mark Enos in 0. 64 Tom Garbrand and 69 Bob Eichel. Tom Feller Jr. leads him down the backstretch. Bob Schneider in that second spot as they exit turn 4. Greg Bewley in 21, he's in that third spot. Tom Garbrand 4th. Bob Eichel and Mark Enos. Tom Feller slides up a little bit out of 4th. Tom Feller Jr. out in front, Canton, Ohio, 47. Bob Schneider in that second spot. Tom Garbrand 3rd, halfway. Eichel challenged him in that 4th spot. One's 3rd. Garbrand in the second now. White flag. Tom Garbrandt takes over the lead. Out of 4. Tom Garbrandt, Tom Feller, Bob Schneider, Bob Eichel, Greg Bewley, and Mark Enos. There's your winner of the second heat, Tom Garbrandt in 64. Okay, moving into the fast heat of the sports stocks tonight. On the pole from Janayton Hutton, Ohio, it's Kurt Waller in car 18. On the outside of him in car 67 from Uricksville, Ohio, it's John Tenorelli. Next row back from Dover, Ohio, Gabe Pringle in car 8. On his outside in car number 2, it's Roger Leinert. Next row back, Kevin McClintock in 38. Keith Thomas, last week's feature winner in 34, and 05, Wes Gillen, your top qualifier tonight. There we go. Down to turn 1, out of 2. They're side by side. Kurt Waller on the inside. John Tenorelli on the outside. Kurt Waller, lead lap 1. Into turn 2, from the third row back, Roger Leinert into the lead. Gabe Pringle holds down second with Keith Thomas in third. Keith Thomas looks to the outside of Gabe Pringle. He wants that second spot. Wes Gillen now challenging Keith Thomas. Roger Leinert showing the way in car 2. Halfway that lap. Keith Thomas making a move out of 2. He can't hold it down the backstretch. Thomas, Gabe Pringle, second and third, as Roger Leinert has checked out right now. Keith Thomas makes a move going in turn 1. They're side by side down the backstretch. Here comes Wes Gillen, white flag. Turn 3. Out of 4. Here he comes. Roger Leinert, your winner. Keith Thomas, Gabe Pringle, Wes Gillen, Kevin McClintock, and John Tenorelli. This gentleman has been around this track a few years. He's competing his last full-time racing season here at Midvale Speedway. Put your hands together for Roger Leinert in car number 2. Okay, moving into the second sports stock heat race. On the pole, Chris Cale in car number 10. On the outside of him, car number 20. It's Paul Murray from Port Washington, Ohio. Back on the inside from Uricksville, Don Rufner Jr. On the outside of him from Brightwood, Ohio, it's car 27. That is Bill Hilliker. Back on the inside from Dover, Ohio, Josh Grove in car number 4. On the outside of him from Dover, Ohio, car number 54, that's Doug McMillan. And in the last row, Glenn Joel in car 24. All bunched up, we're ready for a green. Chris Cale looks his nose out in front, down the backstretch. Here comes Paul Murray on his outside. Chris Cale, Paul Murray, Don Rufner Jr., Bill Hilliger. Josh Grove in that 5th spot right now. Chris Cale out in front. Don Rufner Jr. in that 2nd spot on the inside. Here comes Paul Murray back. Paul Murray on the outside, Don Rufner Jr. on the inside. Trying to make a sandwich out of Chris Cale. Murray on the outside. He'll take over the lead going into turn 3. Chris Cale 2nd, Bill Hilliger in that 3rd spot, Don Rufner Jr. 4th, Josh Grove 5th, Doug McMillan and Glenn Joel. Don Rufner Jr. looks to the outside of Chris Cale. White flag. Into turn 3, one more time, out of 4. Paul Murray wins it. All right, as he pulls to a stop down here at the start-finish line from Port Washington, Ohio, let him hear ya, Paul Murray. Okay, moving into the fast heat of the pure stocks. On the pole, Joe Oliver in car 50 on the outside. Number 7, that's Adam Mackey in 7th. Rich Schweitzer in 84, and here we go. Scott Archer in 28, Paul Parsons in 44, and Lee McCrary in 17 tonight, filling in for Randy Smart in the heat race. Joe Oliver out in front, Rich Schweitzer 2nd. Al Street in that 3rd spot. 4th is Scott Archer, Adam Mackey 5th. 6th is Paul Parsons, and 7th is Lee McCrary in car 17. Side by side for that race lead, Joe Oliver and Rich Schweitzer. With Scott Archer and Al Street side by side, they touching for. Lee McCrary trying to get on the inside of Paul Parsons. He doesn't. 4-way battle of the lead. Rich Schweitzer gets it corrected. Joe Oliver on the inside. Al Street takes over the lead. Al Street from Malvern, Ohio, out in front. White flag. backstretch one more time. Out of 4. Mile straight. Joe Oliver, Lee McCrary, Adam Mackey, Paul Parsons, and Scott Archer. Okay, this man is from Malvern, Ohio, and he's on fire down here at Midvale Speedway. Car number 73, that's Big Al Street in car 73. Okay, moving into the second heat. Dan Moore in car 29 will bring him in. Bob Pathwater Sr. in car 77 on the outside. David Brill in 49. Douglas Higgins in car 13. 88. Steve Archer in car 88. 12, John Leisure, and 83, Tim Oliver. Side by side, they exit turn 2 down the backstretch. Dan Moore, here comes Douglas Higgins trying to go from the second row to the front row. John Leisure moving up in car 12 on the inside. Dan Moore, David Brill out of shape. Seems solid that long at that wheel coming down the front stretch. John Leisure going for the lead in turn 3. Dan Moore holds on to second. Douglas Higgins third. Here comes Tim Oliver from the back of the pack. John Leisure out in front. Douglas Higgins in that second spot. Third is Tim Oliver. Then Scott Archer. David Brill. Bob Pathwater Sr. and Dan Moore rounds out your field. White flag in Terry Coletti's hand out there, showing the John Leisure. Out of 4, here he comes. John Leisure, Douglas Higgins, Tim Oliver, Scott Archer, David Brill, Bob Pathwater Sr., and Dan Moore. All right, this gentleman's from Canton, Ohio. Put your hands together for him for John Leisure in car 12, your second heat winner in the Pure Stocks. All right, moving to the third heat. Here we go. Car 80 out in front, no identification on him. Ken Feaster on the outside. Chris Miller trying to make a sandwich out of it right there. Joe Fuchs 01. Tim Rogers. Oh, we got... What a piece of driving. Non-stop action here at Midvale Speedway. Chris Miller out in front in car 70. Hi, Charlie. Take a seat, buddy. Take a seat. Yellow is out. Yellow is out. We got them bunched up. Chris Miller sets the pace. Joe Fuchs on his outside. Dick Albule, Kenny Feaster, Brian Smith, Tim Roberts, and car 80. Fuchs on the outside. Here comes Dick Albule into that third spot. Brian Smith fourth, as Chris Miller shows the way in car 70. Brian Smith on the outside. Trying to get by Dick Albule for third spot. Halfway. Brian Smith up to second on the outside, challenging Joe Fuchs for that spot. As Chris Miller shows the way in 70th. On the inside, he can't make a move on. Fuchs down the back stretch. Now he tries the outside. White flag in hand. Into turn 3. Chris Miller. He'll bring home the checker. Okay, as he comes to the start-finish line, picking up his first checker flag of the year. Put your hands together for him, Chris Miller in car 70. Where's Adam at tonight? 72, Tom Barrett 157, Adam Mishler 65. Here we go. Side by side down the backstretch. Rooster Jr. out in front. Josh Irwin on the inside. Three wide in turn 1. Jr. out in front. Josh Irwin in that second spot. Russell Grandison and Jack Rowe battle for third and fourth. Josh Irwin trying for the lead because they go into 1. Out of 2. He'll take over the lead down the backstretch. Dale Beatty makes it 3 wide in turn 1. Russell Grandison up to second. Dale Beatty third. for second. Can Josh hold him off? Then turn 2. He keeps it low. Side by side for second down the backstretch. They touch. Josh is able to contract. He wins it. Josh Irwin. Dale Biddy finished second. Russell Granison third. And my heart was in the throat because that's my car out there. One of them. All right, as he pulls to a stop down there, put your hands together for the fast heat. Winner of the compacts, Josh Irwin in car 69. All right, here we go, second heat race. Caution is out. Caution is out. Okay, here's your lineup. 45, Mike Powell in 45. On the outside of him, 02, Jesse Page. 53, and that would be Mike Hosteller. Back on the outside of Mike would be 18, Kenny Feaster. Or, excuse me, 18 is Eric Feaster. Back on the inside, 191. That's Lisa Courtney. Tammy Rupner in car 7. 43, Sean Music. Tad Grove in 3. Jason Morgan in 2, and Kyle Gruhl in 199. Mike Powell out in front. Jesse Page at second spot. Mike Hosteller third. Fourth is on the outside, Eric Feaster. Shaw Music in 43. Here comes Eric Feaster in 18 on the inside of Jesse Page. Mike Powell slides in turn 3. Out in front now. Checker flag coming out. John Music. He'll bring home the victory. And Mike Powell will finish the race. Sean Music, your winner of the second compact heat race winner tonight. Okay. Moving to the third heat. Jason Shaw in 9. Bruce Gibson 32. Mike Gribble at 11. Bob Pathwater Jr. 26. Paul Stahl in 05. Bill Burkholder 00. Jason Dawson at 56. Kenny Ford 67. Neil Rowley 46. And 94. Chris Smith. Bruce Gibson out in front. Here comes Mike Gribble, 11. Going for the race lead out of 4, it's going to be Mike Gribble in car 11. Jason Shaw losing a motor in car 9. Kenny Ford on the outside, Mike Gribble on the inside. This is for the race lead. White flag coming out. Kenny Ford wins it. Mike Gribble second. Your winner from Louisville, Ohio, in car 67, it's Kenny Ford. Your winner. Okay, moving to the fourth heat. Brian Kopp in 52. 148 out there, looks like, or 48 is is Richard Duvall. 151, Chris Bloom. On the outside of him, car 28, Bill Wilkins. Pat Carnes in 179. 39 is Mike Jones. Barb Feaster in 73, Kenny Jewell 76, and in car 27, Johnny Campbell. There's 52 out in front, Ryan Kopp. Here comes Bill Wilkins. Bill Wilkins in the lead in car 28. Jones. Bill Wilkins out in front. Mike Jones in that second spot. Third comes Pat Carnes on the inside of Ryan Cup. He won third. Mike Jones on the tail of Bill Wilkins. White flag. Bill Wilkins leading down the backstretch. Mike Jones in that second spot. Bill Wilkins, Mike Jones, Pat Barnes, Kenny Jewell, Ryan Cobb, Johnny Campbell, Chris Bloom, Richard Duvall, and Barb Feaster. All right, picking up the fourth heat in the compacts tonight. I believe he's from Sherrodsville, Ohio. Picking up his first checker flag, at least in the compact class here at Midvale Speedway. Bill Wilkins in car 28. Okay, moving into the fifth and final compact heat race. Car 80. On the outside of him, John Wisman Jr. in 06. Joe Ellerick in 51. Tammy Ondo in 97. Cody Schuster in 118. And Chester McMasters in car 22. Got the worst end of that deal. She's back out of the track. Joe Ellerick out in front. Chester McMasters second. Chester McMasters second, Cody Schuster third, and John Wisman Senior or Junior in that fourth spot. Chester's trying to get on the inside of him. Joe just pulls away down the backstretch though. flag. It's going to be Joe Elric, your race winner. Dexter McMaster second. Jody Schiff third. John Wisman Jr. in that fourth spot. And Tammy Ondo will finish the race in 97. Okay, moving into the Australian pursuit for the late models on the pole from Uhrichsville, Ohio. It's Mark Enos in car 0. Right behind him from Newport, Ohio, Tom Garbrand in 64. From Stone Creek, Ohio, it's Bob, the Animal Eichel in 69. He'll start third. Ron Jaybird Jr. in 22 will start fourth. John Crumrine making his first appearance of the year here at Midvale Speedway. He'll start fifth at 44. Todd Miller in 11. Mike Miller 53. Bubba Smith in 12. Bill Rose in 82. And Dave Watson in 9. On the inside, Tom Garbrand takes over the lead. Mark Enos has been eliminated. Ron Jaybird Jr. on the outside of Bob Eichel. Tom Garbrand out in front, all by himself right now. Your battle for second on back. Bob Eichel hanging on to second. Jaybird at third spot. Crumrine fourth. Miller fifth. Halfway. 5 in, 5 to go. Todd Miller's out at 11. Bubba Smith's out at 12. Eichel's out at 69. Miller's out at 53. 5 cars left. Tom Garbrand still out in front. White flag. Tom Garbrand, Ron Jaybird Jr. and Dave Watson will finish the race. All right, picking up the Australian pursuit in the late models tonight from Newport, Ohio, Tom Garbrand in 64. Okay, moving into the Australian pursuit in the sports stocks on the pole, Paul Murray in car 20. Don Richard Jr. in second and 7. Third will be Josh Grove in 4. Then Doug McMillan 54. Kurt Waller 18, 67. Honky John Tannerelli. Kevin McClintock. Right in front, right behind Gabe Pringle. Here we go. Keith Thomas and Wes Gillis. John Ritter Jr.'s out. Paul Murray, Josh Grove. Yellow is out. Yellow is out. All right, here we go. Josh Grove on the outside. Out at 18. Three cars left. Paul Murray, Doug McMillan, and Keith Thomas. Keith Thomas on the inside. The race, she's over. Keith Thomas, your Sports Stock Pursuit winner tonight. Wait a minute. Douglas Higgins takes over the lead. Dan Moore has been eliminated. Pure Stock Pursuit. Tim Oliver in that second spot. John Leisure third. Rich Schweitzer has been eliminated. Out. Douglas Higgins out in front all by himself. Tim Oliver second. Third, John Leisure, Paul Parsons, and Al Street. Douglas Higgins by himself. Going in on the backstretch. Three cars left. Douglas Higgins in 13, Paul Parsons 44, and Al Street in 73. I'm gonna get your address, Sonny. Coming out. Paul Parsons is out now. There's 2 cars left. Alice Higgins wins it. Alice Reed will finish second. Your winner, Douglas Higgins of the Pure Stock Pursuit tonight. Okay, moving into the compact pursuit. Don Rushner Jr., David Briel's car of Perry Ney, then Josh Irwin 69, Jack Grove in 5, John McNutt, Russell Granson, Tom Barrett, Adam Mishler, Troy McMath, and Dale Beatty. Thanks, Sonny. Troy McMass out. Russell Granson caught on the outside in 72. He's battling Tom Barrett. Here comes Josh Irwin at 69. Jack Grove in 4th, John McNutt. Harry Ney, Josh Irwin now in 2nd, Jack Grove 3rd, John McNutt 4th. Tom Barrett 5th, Adam Mishler 6th, and Dale Beatty 7th. Halfway. Three cars left, Jack Grove, Tom Barrett, and Dale Beatty. They're side by side. Tom Barrett will inch his way in the lead. Jack Grove hangs on. White flag. Dale Beatty wins it. Tom Barrett will finish 2nd. There's your winner, Dale Beatty, in a compact pursuit tonight. There's your lineup. Let's bunch them up. Tom Feller Jr. will bring him in. Mark Enos, Bob Snyder, Ron Jaber Jr., Tom Garbrandt, Todd Miller, Mike Miller, Bubba Smith, Phil Rosen, Dave Watson, Craig Dealey, and Bob Eichel. Here we go! Bob Snyder takes it down hard in turn 1, out of 2. Tom Feller Jr., here comes Martinez. Tom Feller Jr. was going to lead lap 1. All tore up down there is Todd Miller in car number 11. Tom Feller Jr. will set the pace. Tom Garbrandt right there behind him with John Crumrine in third. Here we go. We got a green. Tom Garbrandt shoots to the inside. He'll have the lead as they exit turn 2. John Crumrine in that second spot. Mike Miller in third. Tom Feller Jr. fourth. Bill Rosa now into fourth, coming out of 2. Tom Garbrandt out in front. John Crumrine second, Mike Miller third, Bill Rosa fourth. Fifth is Dave Watson and Bubba Smith, Craig Gilley, Paul Michael, Mark Enos, and Tom Feller Jr. Out in front. Bill Rosa looks to the inside. He can't make a move in turn 3. Yellow is out. Yellow out on the racetrack. And here we go. Out in front. Bill Rosa looks to the outside. Caution out of the track for John Crumrine. Dave Watson at 4th spot, Bubba Smith 5th, and Craig Gilley, Mark Enos, Tom Feller Jr., and Mike Miller. Here we go. Out in front. Oh, Garbrandt, 64. John Crumrine right there in second. Bill Rosen at third spot. Bill Rosen looks to the outside. Caution out on the track. Out in front. Bill Rosen going high in turn 3. Here comes Dave Watson into it. Crumrine down to turn 2. Bill Rosen on the outside. White flag coming out. Crumrine on the inside. Bill Rosen on the outside. What a race here in Midvale. They touch it. Wow, man, oh man. Man, was that some feature or what? Put your hands together for all those guys out there, for those crossing the line right there. There's your feature winner. Put your hands together for him. John Crumrine. What an exciting finish here at Midvale Speedway. How'd you guys like that? Put your hands together for him out there. Let him hear it. All right. John Crumrine. They ran 19 laps side by side. Back on the next row, on the inside, Glenn Jewell in 24. Then Josh Grove flanks him on the outside in car 4. Next row back, Doug McMillan in car 54. Kurt Waller in 18 flanks him on the outside. Next row back, Honky John Tenerelli in car 67. On the outside of him, Gabe Pringle in car 8. Next row back, Roger Leinert in car 2. And on his outside, Kevin McClintock in car 38. Thomas in car 34. He must not be in trouble. His wife just clapped for him. On his outside, Wes Gill in 05. Chris Cale 10 and Bill Hilliker 27. There we go. Paul Murray, Don Rufner Jr. side by side. Glenn Joel up the fourth on the inside. Lap 3, coming up on lap 3. Glenn Joel trying to get his nose on the inside, he can't do it. Up the third on the inside. Paul Murray on the inside. Don Rufner Jr. on the outside. Leatherville in third. Then Josh Grove, Glenn Joel, John Tannerelli. Side of that race lead. Josh Grove all tore up. 18. Kurt Waller tore up out there in turn 2. Chris Cale, Doug McMillan, Paul Murray, and Josh Grove. Here we go. Still showing the way. Here comes Roger Line on the outside. Pete Thomas. John Tannerelli still hangs on to second. Out of the lead, Roger Liner. Here comes Pete Thomas into second on the outside. John Rufner Jr. third. John Tannerelli fourth. John Tannerelli looks to the outside of Don Rufner Jr. on track. Wes Gillen losing an axle out there, turn number 1. Keith Thomas second. Okie John Tannerella in that third spot. Don Rupner Jr., Kevin McClintock, Gabe Pringle, Josh Grove in the convertible looking car out there. Coming out. Bigger flag, got a fall on Roger Liner. Keith Thomas, John Tannerella, Kevin McClintock, Josh Grove, Gabe Pringle, Don Rupner Jr., Paul Murray, Glenn Jewell, and Chris Cale. Well, the old man got out front, and the young man couldn't catch him. Keith Thomas will finish second. And as he pulls to a stop down there, put the hands together, let him hear you. He's a little hard of hearing anymore out there. Roger Liner from Dover, Ohio. There he is, let him hear ya. Roger Liner. Your Sports Stock feature winner tonight. Back on the inside in car 88, Steve Archer. On the outside of him, Tim Oliver in 83. Douglas Higgins in 13, Bob Pathwater Sr. in 77. Dan Moore in 29, Brian Smith in 21. Tim Roberts in 2. Dick Abiel 55, we got a green. Stretch into turn 4. Yellow light is out. Wednesday night, these guys will be back in competition. Right here in Midvale. Parsons out in front. Adam back in that second spot. Third is Randy Smart. Rich Schweitzer fourth. Joe Oliver fifth. Up through the pack. Randy Smart goes to the outside of Adam Mackey. Parsons still showing the way. Randy Smart inches his way in the second. Adam Mackey third. Scott Archer sticking his nose to it. 3 wide. Scott Archer now in the lead. Here comes Al Street on the outside. Al Street. Oh, Parsons. Adam Mackey. Randy Smart. Rich Schweitzer. Joe Oliver. Douglas Higgins. Trying to get through lap traffic. White flag. Scott Archer, Al Street, Paul Parsons will finish third. Adam Mackey, Rich Schweitzer, Randy Smart, Joe Oliver, Douglas Higgins. As he pulls to a stop down there, he's got his helmet on yet. Give him a minute. Al Street stops and congratulates him. Your second place winner. He's unbuckling now. He's climbing out. There he is, Scott Archer. Your Pure Stock feature winner tonight. For the first of 3 compact features on the pole, Jack Grove in 5. On the outside of him, the man that's on fire in his class, John McNutt in 35. Russell Grandison back on the inside in 72. 157, Tom Barrett. 65, Adam Mishler. Troy McMath in 64. Dale Beatty in 36. Josh Irwin in 69. Don Rufner Jr. in 47. 2, Jason Morgan. 199, Kyle Gruhl. Tad Grove in car number 3. Sean Music in 43. Tammy Rufner in 7. And Perry Ney in 49. 15 laps. First of 3 compact features. Okay, lights are out on the backstretch. Jack Grove, John McNutt, they set the pace. Russell Grandison, Tom Barrett, Adam Mishler, Troy McMath, Dale Beatty, and Josh Irwin. Here we go. Jack Grove out in front. Russell Grandison on the inside. John McNutt on the outside. Jack Grove, Russell Grandison. Adam Mishler in the 3rd. Dale Beatty 4th. John McNutt 5th. Josh Irwin 6th. Tom Barrett 7th. Troy McMath 8th. Jason Morgan in 9th. Kyle Gruhl in 10th. Jack Grove out in front. Russell Grandison right there on his outside. Adam Mishler at the 3rd. Dale Beatty in 4th. John McNutt 5th. Tom Barrett caught on the outside. Josh Irwin, Russell Grannis, and Adam Mishler, Troy McMahon. Dale Beatty out in front. Jack Grove second, John McNutt third, side by side for fourth, Josh Irwin, Russell Granison. White flag. Dale Beatty's gonna win it. Jack Grove will finish second. Let him hear you out there. Dale Beatty, your fast, compact feature winner.
Tell Dale to hold up. I got money and certificates to give away.
Neil Rowley will bring him in at 46. Kenny Ford, then Mike Powell, Jesse Page, Mike Hosteller, Feaster, Bill Burkholder, James Domer. Oh, no, not James. That's James Dobson, 56. Chris Smith, Don Wisman in the 05 car, Mike Gribble in 11, Earl Strand in 03, James Domer in 191, 32 of Bruce Gibson, and 26 of Bob Pathwater Jr. Round out your field. Neil Rowley leads lap 2. Kenny Ford, then Mike Hosteller, Mike Powell, James, Jesse Page. Caution out. Caution is out. 5 laps in, 10 to go yet. Kenny Ford second. Mike Costello in third. Beecher fourth. Mike Gribble fifth. Jesse Page sixth. Chris Smith in seventh. Ben Earl Scranton eighth. Bill Burkholder ninth. James Domer in 10th. Halfway. And James Dobson, Mike Powell, and Bob Pathwater Jr. round out your field. Going under his qualifying time. That gives the lead to Kenny Ford. Mike Costello now in Harris second with Feaster third, Gribble in fourth. Coming out. Second and third into it. And fourth, fifth, and sixth. Kenny Ford wins it. Mike Costello second. Feaster, Gribble, Domer, Page, Scranton, Powell, Smith, Burkholder, Dobson, and Pathwater. Kenny Ford, your second compact feature winner tonight.
Before we get our tickets taken, we're going to do a drawing. You're going to draw 1 through 3. If you draw 1, we'll take one.
Moving into the third and final compact feature. Here we go. Pushing the ball, bring him across the line. Chris Bloom in second, but here comes Johnny Campbell with the second now. Bill Wilkins up to fifth. Caution out for Mike Jones. Okay, total restart. Caution out again. Well, we're going to try this for the third time. Here we go. Richard Duvall and Johnny Campbell bring him across the line. Your race leader, Johnny Campbell, second. Richard Duvall, third. Pat Carnes in fourth. Then comes Kenny Joel. Johnny Campbell in second. Pat Carnes third, Kenny Joel fourth, Mike Jones fifth. For 97, Timmy Ondo. There we go. Johnny Campbell second, Kenny Joel third. Pat Carnes in fourth. Johnny Campbell. Now he looks to the outside as Phil Wilkins still goes away halfway. Finally gets on the inside of Johnny Campbell. 5 to go. finishing at 5th spot. Mike Jones out there. Brian Cobb, Cody Shush. Well, that concludes the racing action here at Midvale Speedway for June 11th, 2005. So along with Karen and Bear Schwartz, it's been your video announcer, Craig Mishler. And as Kenny Jewell pulled to the finish line, he'll pick up the 3rd and final compact feature win of the evening. There's your winner, Kenny Jewell. Located in Newtown Mall, replays Midvale Speedway races every Tuesday night. Key Joe's Body and Paint, located at 1820 North Water Street Extension in Uricksville. Brian's Carpet Sales and Service, located at 119 North Main Street in Uricksville, Ohio. Dale's Heating and Cooling, located at 501 Newport Avenue in Uricksville. Lehigh Insurance Agency, located at 212 Gardner Avenue in Uricksville, your local independent insurance agent. Indian Village Community Bank has 2 locations to serve you, one at 635 West High in New Philadelphia and 100 South Walnut Street in Jeanette-Hutton. Denison Yard, located at 313 Center Street in Denison. Claymont Tire and Auto, located at 1860 North Water Street Extension in Uricksville. Davis Radiator, located at 1840 North Water Street Extension in Uricksville. Midas Auto Service Experts, located at 651 West High Avenue in New Philadelphia. The Advantage Bank has 2 locations to serve you, one at 327 East 3rd Street in Uricksville and 547 South James Street in Dover. Roundhouse Auto Tech, located at 7 Center Street in Denison, Ohio. For all your propane needs, stop in at Tap and Gas, 310 Grant Street in Denison, Ohio. Stop in at one of the area McDonald's and get the car show schedule. Shook Auto, located on Stone Creek Road Southwest in New Philadelphia. American Payroll Advance, located at 297 Macaulay Drive in Uricksville in the Claymont Center. Parkway Nissan Lincoln Mercury, located at 382 Commercial Parkway in Dover. Smoker's Paradise has 5 area locations for you to visit for all your tobacco needs. Bailey's 4-Star Video and Tanning, located at 308 East 1st Street in Uricksville, has all the new releases on DVD and video. Tanning visits are taken on a walk-in or appointment basis. That's Bailey's 4-Star Video and Tanning. Okay, we're in the pits with Neil Rowley, compact driver number 46. And Neil, how you doing so far this year?
I ain't doing too bad. Blowed up a couple motors and had to get another car, and my wife's going to start driving my old one.
Yeah, that was my next question. So she's going to be driving your old car. What's the car number going to be? Have any idea yet?
We're hoping to get 146.
Make a team. Are you going to be paying the same, or
Yeah.
are you?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Any sponsors you want to thank on the car?
Keeping you in stitches in Uricksville.
Okay. Any other sponsors?
Performance Graphics,
Okay.
right here in Midvale, Ohio.
Okay. And what's your goals for this year at Midvale Speedway?
Not to end up upside down.
That's a goal. Okay. All right. Neil, good luck to you, buddy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Okay, we're in the pits with John Wisman Sr. And John, you're in the compacts this year, correct?
Right.
How many years you been racing down here at Midvale?
Oh, let's see, about 22.
22 altogether, right? Huh?
Right.
Back in the hobby stock class?
22, 25, well,
Yeah.
figure 8, hobby stock.
So what's your goals for this year?
Yeah, get a car running. stay out of trouble.
Put her in victory lane then, right?
Stay out of trouble. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna drive the 05 car to the guy's hurt tonight and help him out. And park mine, we got a Ben A-frame. So.
Ben A-frame, okay. Any sponsors you want to thank on your car?
Oh, we got Andy's Market and Scenic Wood Product, Men's Crafter. I'm trying to think who else, myself. That's about it.
About it, okay. What's your goals for this year? To keep her on all four wheels?
Keep her on all four wheels and win a few.
There you go. Good luck to you,
Just
John.
have a lot of fun.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Okay, thank you. We're over here in the pits with Kenny Ford. And Kenny, what do you drive down here in Midvale?
I drive, it's a 94 Chevy Cavalier, number 67,
In the compact class.
in compact class.
What'd you do last week?
I won my heat race, the second heat race, and I came second in the feature.
So you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I did well. After I went through 3 motors this year, I'm doing pretty good.
That's right.
I'm back on track.
Yeah, you've had a lot of motor problems,
Yeah,
haven't you?
yeah.
You think you got her figured out now?
Well, it was the gasoline.
Is that right?
Tim Skinner used to run down here last year. Modifieds, he was telling me that I was running gasoline instead of racing fuel, and that was burning my pistons up.
Oh.
And it was hurting the range and everything. So
Went back to regular gas?
now I went back to racing fuel.
Racing fuel.
Racing fuel.
You're doing all right.
Yep,
then.
I'm better now.
Yeah. Well, now, any more plans for this year? You gonna do any more changes on the car? Or?
No, I'm just hopefully everything will start hooking up. Last week my tires started hooking up and it's doing great.
Good. Good luck to you tonight, Kenny.
All right, thanks a lot.
Sir.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, we're over here in the pits with Jesse Pays. And Jesse, what do you drive down here at Midvale?
I drive a 91 Cavalier.
Cavalier in the compact class?
Yes.
Okay, how have you done so far this year?
I've won 3 heats, 1 feature.
Good, congratulations, great. You want to tell us about your sponsors?
Well, John Hornbrook, he's an attorney. We got Sickfoos Towing. He helps us tow it out and gives us money once in a while. That's about it.
About it, huh? Now, does your dad do a lot of work on it, or did you do a lot of work on it?
He does a lot of work. On it.
Yeah. Do you do supervise? Do you supervise? Okay.
Most of the time.
So what's your goals this year for down here in Midvale? Where do you want to finish in the top 10 in points, or what's your goal?
I just want to have fun.
Have fun, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you can have that every week, can't you?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Good luck tonight.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, we're over here with Kyle Gruhl. And Kyle, what division do you race in down here in Midvale?
I rode in compact division.
What's your car number?
199.
All right. How have you done so far this year?
Not too bad. I got 3 wins, so it's good and good.
You're right up in there then, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're in the top 10 in the points, or right on the door?
On the borderline there.
On the borderline.
Close.
On the borderline. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Any sponsors you want to thank on the car?
Yeah, I just want to thank Connor's Corner Garage. Best deals in town.
There you go. What's your goals for this year? What do you want to accomplish here at Midvale?
I just want to make top 10 points. Be happy with me.
Yeah. Well, you're right on the verge of that,
Yeah.
and almost mid-season, so you got some time to go yet, right?
Yep, I'm gonna try.
There you go. Is your brother going to get back into this racing game, or is he more or less a mechanic now on the car?
He really don't do nothing. He's kind of lazy, but we'll see what happens for him.
That's all right. There you go. Now, see, so when we play this back on TV, he'll get to go back next week and say something bad about you,
Yep,
right? Huh?
Yep, he's gonna get me back.
Hey, good luck tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.